ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فهو المهتد ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله بلغ الرسالة وأدى الأمانة ونصح الأمة وكشف الغمة وجاهد في سبيل الله حق جهاده حتى أتاه اليقين ونحن على ذلك من الشاهدين. أما بعد، فإن أحسن الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدي هدي سيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. أما بعد, جزاكم الله خير, my dear respected brothers and sisters, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would bless this gathering. Today, bi'idhnillah ta'ala, brothers and sisters, we're going to be talking about is a continuation of what we have started in the past. We are digging deeper into a'mal al-qulub, the deeds of the heart. And in the past, we talked about arrogance, and we talked about that, arrogance comes in three levels, and they have many variations. We talked about al-ujb, we talked about al-kibr, and we talked about al-ghurur, And we said the highest level of arrogance is what we consider al-ghurur, in which that someone, not only he is proud or he is, looking down onto others, he's humiliating others in that. And today, bi'idhnillah ta'ala, we're going to be discussing that in details, al-ghurur in all of its branches. And we are more interested in not just al-ghurur in which that the ego, when we say the word ghurur, the closest translation in English is ego, okay? So today we're going to be talking about a ghurur, or the ego that affects the believers, okay? In which that almost, brothers and sisters, almost very few people are free from, okay? And where does it start? Where does the aspect of al-ghurur start? It starts with the fact that people, they say that, ad-dunya khayrun min al-nasi'ah, as Ibn Qudama says here, that people, they say that we are dealing with reality. This dunya, something that we see, something that we feel, something that we touch. When it comes to the hereafter, God knows the hereafter is something that we never seen, we never touched reality with. Something is going to come later. But in reality, brothers and sisters, for true believers, whatever the dunya and whatever its effects and everything that comes with it, if you wanted to compare it to the hereafter, it's not one of a million part. I'm going to say this one more time. All of this dunya, and all of its years and centuries, when you want to compare it to the hereafter, is not just one of a million. Because this is the aspect that we have to understand. We are living for the hereafter. We are living that one day we will be resurrected. We are living that in this dunya, hayat ad-dunya, and then you're going to have hayat al-barzakh, your life. Just like here, we have a life, you're going to have another life in your grave. And then another life, you're going to be in the hereafter. So what is this life that all of us are killing for? It's just a small portion of what the hereafter is this. And the problem when this ghurur, this ego enters into the heart of the believers, sometimes you become, in some aspects, you become like the disbelievers. In which that they commit sins, because that's the problem of many Muslims nowadays. They commit sins underneath the slogan, Inna Allah Ghafurun Rahim, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is merciful. So when you want to look at, and this is the part that Ibn Qudama here is trying to get us to realize. If I am looking at two individuals, okay, one claimed to be a Muslim, okay, and the other one is a kafir, but both lies, both cheats, both commit zina, both don't pray. But he said, this one, he says, I don't believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But this one, he says, what? Inna Allah ghafur rahim. Allah is most merciful. You see? So when it comes to actions, it's the same thing. Because, this, ulama, what they say? They said, man raja shay'an talaba. Whoever believed or asked for something, he goes after it. وَمَنْ خَافَ شَيْئًا هَرَبْ. And whoever fearful of something, what would he do? He would run. وَمَنْ رَجَى الْغُفْرَانَ مَعَ الْإِصْرَارَ فَهُوَ مَغْرُورٌ. I'm going to say this again, brothers. This is very important. So if you are a true believer, if you want the Jannah, then go after it. If you're fearful of the hereafter, run from it. Right? وَمَنْ رَجَى الْغُفْرَانَ, if you want Allah to forgive you, while you are persistent in doing sins, Ibn Qudama says here, this is the maghrur, this is the ego that we're talking about here. That you are sinning, and Allah will forgive me. You see, that's the problem. And he said, no, just like Rabbil Alameen is Ghafoor Rahim, He is most merciful. And in each and every chapter of the Quran, we say, Inna Allah Ghafoorun Rahim. Allah is most merciful. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shadid al-iqab. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is what? He's a harsh punisher. And that's the problem that you see in us distinguishing us Muslims from other beliefs. Some religions, they bet on mercy, and that's it. The only thing that they bet on, someone died for your sin, for instance. Someone died for your sins. Then khalas, then you do whatever the heck you want to do from this point on. But the thing is, when it comes to Islam, there's a balance. They call it al-khawfu wal-raja'. Believe in hope and fear. And the one who balances between hope in the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and fear of the punishment of Rabbil Alameen, those are the ones who are successful. The problem here, brothers and sisters, and this is telling ourselves, did we come up with a new religion? Because people in the past, our predecessors, they used to do good deeds, and they were fearful of Rabbil Alameen. But nowadays, do we think that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is so merciful to the point that He would forgive all of our sins? Is that something that the prophets came with? As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, يَأْخُذُونَ عَرَضَ هَذَا الْأَدْنَى وَيَقُولُونَ سَيُغْفَرُ لَنَا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says this about Bani Israel. They do whatever they want to do, and at the end of the day, what they say, Allah would forgive us. Allah would forgive us. Or are they so proud? Are they so proud of the fact that, because of their lineage, Wallahi, I am so and so, son of so and so. Because sometimes you see people, I am the descendant of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Great. We love Ahl al-Bayt. We love the people of the house of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But is that a reason for you to enter Jannah? That for sure did not save Abu Lahab for sure. That did not save the son of Sayyidina Nuh alayhi salatu wassalam. That did not save the father of Ibrahim alayhi salatu wassalam. That did not save the mother of Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. You guys understand that part? The mother of Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. He did that save her. You guys understand that aspect? When Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam tried to seek forgiveness for his mother, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said no. Understand that part. It's not about lineage and about who you are or what's your name and what country you belong from. This is the ego that we're talking about here, brothers and sisters. That you see someone, because of the fact that he is, some brothers, they think that they have done so much good deeds, and what happened is this enabled them psychologically to do whatever they want to do. And what happened is, they would look with two eyes at the good things that they do, and they completely ignore and don't criticize once they do any sins. When he donated $1, I donated $1. But what about the ghiba? What about the namima? The backbiting that you are doing? The looking at things you're not supposed to be looking? Talking in the honors of the people? What about all of that? He does not account. He counts what he gives to Rabbil Alameen and the good deeds that he's doing, but he does not count himself when he's committing sins, and he does not self-checks himself. And this is the hypocrisy that some Muslims are falling into. They read about the good things that they're enabled to do. You know what? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Prophet Muhammad said, whoever said astaghfirullah 100 times, he would look into that. He would look into that. Yeah, astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah. Okay, great. But what about the ruling of you eating the haram or eating the riba? What about the ruling if that you're not following the sunnah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? What about if you're not looking at the fiqh? Sometimes we like to be faqih. We ask the sheikh about the things that we like, the things that we want to ask about. But what about the things that you are committing day and night, ya akhi? What about the other things that you are putting, the dirt that you're putting underneath the carpet? Every time you want to sweep the dirt of your heart. Brothers and sisters, the problem is that a lot of times we have to be honest with ourselves. And that's why, Ibn Qudamah here, what he did, he classified the problems of the ummah into 4 different classifications. And how people have this ghurur, this ego. And he did not leave anyone. And you know what? The very first people in the top of his list, that shows the honesty of these scholars. The very first group of people he criticized, the scholars. He said the scholars, al-ubbad, the people who worship, al-mutasawwifa, people who follow Sufism, wal-aghniya, and people who have money. These are the four categories that they were not free from this aspect of al-ghurur. And let's start with Ahl al-Ilm, the people of knowledge. He said that sometimes people who are seeking knowledge, what happens is they become this idea seep into their heart that I am a knowledgeable individual. And because of that, they would ignore implementing what they are learning. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the whole aspect of knowledge is not knowing it for the sake of knowing it, but rather implementing it and seeing the after effect of that. When Rabbil Alameen, he said, قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ زَكَّاهَا وَقَدْ خَابَ مَنْ دَسَّاهَا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he said, the one who is truly successful is the one who nourishes his own heart, who beautify his own self from inside, But in the same token, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also criticized Bani Israel and everyone else who learned, and this knowledge became a weight on his back that he does not implement. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, فَمَثَلُهُ كَمَثَلِ الْكَلْبِ إِن تَحْمِلْ عَلَيْهِ يَلْهَثْ وَمَثَلُهُ كَمَثَلِ الْكَلْبِ إِن تَحْمِلْ عَلَيْهِ يَلْهَثْ أَوْ تَتْرُكْهُ يَلْهَثْ. The example is the example of a dog. That the dog, he's opening his mouth regardless whether he's carrying a weight or not. You see? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, كَمَثَلُهُ كَمَثَلِ الْحِمَارِ يَحْمِلُ أَسْفَارًا. The example is like the example of a donkey who just carrying heavy weights. But when you're learning, the point of you learning and educating yourself about this deen is not for you to brag about your knowledge. And that's unfortunately the majority of the people that what they're doing nowadays, whether it was in the masajid or whether it was in YouTube. The problem is here that the problem is that this is the people sometimes, and we're going to get to this. Sometimes people learn so they could be proud of what they have learned. Some scholars, brothers and sisters, they look at this aspect and they try to implement. But what happened? The problem sometimes, what seeps into their heart is the actions and the ghurur. They are looking after themselves. And Ibn Qudamah, he said, their example is like someone who plants fruits, and what happens is between these fruits, you have weed that comes. But we always have to be always cautious of these little things that go into our heart. The fact that the fact that some people just because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give you this knowledge, does not mean that this is a reason for you to look down onto others, and for you to mistreat others, and for you to say that I am better than others. And the deen asks us, brothers and sisters, that whatever whatever that you're learning, it's for you, the reason for you to implement and for you humbly to teach others. Sometimes we see this very few nowadays. And some people say that, I'm going to dress well. Some of the scholars, I'm going to dress well, and I'm going to like show the izzah of the deen. And his argument is what? The izzah of the deen. I want to show the deen that is honorable by wearing nice and trying to show off. But the question here, brothers and sisters, there's nothing wrong with us wearing nice. But this is nothing that I could advise an individual about. Understand, brothers and sisters, this is something that you self-criticize yourself. I can't see into your heart tell you, Wallahi, ya akhi, why are you wearing nice? I can't do that. You have to think about it yourself. But some people, they may use that as an excuse. I want to, the real reason why he is wearing these good clothes and showing off, because of the ghurur. But when he wants to explain to the people, what's the justification that he would use? I want to show the izzah, the honor of the deen, and etc. And that's the way Iblis have that's the reason Iblis is trying to seduce him, brothers and sisters. And look at if we want to look at a real example, let's look at a real example of what the deen have shown us in the past. When Sayyidina Umar Khattab radiyallahu anhu, he went to take the keys of Al-Quds. They say Umar Khattab was wearing a donkey. He was what? He was riding a donkey with holes in his thawb. And when he came down, his na'al, his shoe, was underneath his armpit. And when he came out of his ride, he fell into the mud. And he kept walking. And when Sayyidina Abu Ubaid al-Jarrah, he looked at him, he said, look at this. لَقَدْ صَنَعْتَ الْيَوْمَ صُنْعًا عَظِيمًا عند أهل الأرض. Oh Umar, you have done something unbelievable in the sight of the people of the land. What are you doing? This is the time where people say, I want to show the izzah of the deen. Look at the response of Umar Khattab radiyallahu anhu. He said, Ya Abu Ubaidah, لو غيره يقول هذا يا أبو عبيدة. Oh Abu Ubaidah, I wish that someone else have said this, ya Abu Ubaidah. إنكم كنتم أذل وأحقر الناس. We were before Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We were the lowest of the low. فأعزكم الله برسوله. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you dignity with what? With Allah, with His religion and His Prophet. فمهما تطلبوا العزة بغير الله ذلكم. When you try to gain pride with something other than Allah and His Prophet, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to humiliate you. And that's the problem with us, brothers and sisters. The issue here is that yes, some people might be wearing nice clothes and showing the ilm, nothing wrong with that. But Ibn Qudamah here, he gave us, we call it the litmus test, the test. How would I know someone is wearing? You could ask someone. This is again, brothers, be careful. I'm not telling you to go and criticize people no. This is something that you only could criticize yourself. How would someone know that I'm wearing good clothes to be for the sake of my ego versus I'm wearing good clothes because I want to wear it? He said the following. He said, ask the scholar, or let the scholar think about himself. How does he see when other people ask other scholars of questions? Does he feel that something is getting into him? When he sees other people, possibly his students, don't ask him a question, but ask other scholars. Does he feel something? Or he said, mashallah, go ahead and ask other students, you see? And that's the way it is when it comes to, not necessarily scholars, but other people, brothers and sisters. Some people of the ilm, what happened is, they would not only, their only issue, and that's the part of the ghurur that got into them, their only issue in life, how to learn arguments to attack others. Ya Allah, this is so common nowadays among the Muslims. In which that you see a whole YouTube channel, or maybe possibly a scholar, his only motive in life, how can I respond to this individual, or that individual, or third individual? And he does not, possibly he would barely see him making da'wah or encouraging people or reminding himself or reminding others. But his only motive in life, how can I criticize everybody around me? And you have firaq. Literally, you have masajid here in Columbus. Kid you not, masajid here in Columbus, their whole motive, how to talk about this group or that group or this group, and this group is dawah, and this is what I don't know what, and this whole life. And this is, if you look at even the Sahaba, this was the, look after yourself. Look after you, what are you doing? Where are you gonna, if you were resurrected today, what are you gonna be? And that's the problem that many people tend to undermine, brothers and sisters. Some of them even, some of them, some of these people, they only want to know how to argue, how to debate, and etc., and how to respond, and how can I know this guy is this group and that group. Subhanallah. As is the deen, everything is mashallah. The ummah is mashallah fixed now, and the only thing is left is how can I respond to this group or that group. There is, when we look, I'm not saying, look, in the same token, I have to be fair. I'm not saying that there is no innovations that it does not exist. I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say there is a lot of things that are wrong in the ummah. I'm not going to say that either. But the thing is, we have priorities in this deen. You have youth living Islam. You have people that does not know how to pray for God's sake. Literally, sometimes, subhanAllah, I don't know, one of the things is that, and this is very ironic, in past 6 months, Saudi have made a law that have made all the tourist groups, they abandoned all the tourist groups, right? The tourist groups. And one of the biggest things that people noticed, because back in the days, when these tourist groups used to educate people when they make Umrah or they make Hajj, they would teach them. But nowadays, you're by yourself. You go, whether it was good or bad, people go and they would just do the reservation. And and people now know, okay, wow, I'm going to make Umrah and I have no guides. They learn how to do it. Why are you depending on other people? These basic things is your deen, and etc. So the thing is, this is the way we have to understand. There is so much ignorance in our ummah that people going into these peripheral things and forgetting about the most important things. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Ma dalla qawmun qattun ba'da huda illa utul jadal." That no one became misguided. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "No one became misguided after guidance, unless Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make him efficient with argument." Argue. Look at yourself. Look at your family. And some people, sometimes they would, because they give an advice, because they can advise others, they think they're free from implementing that advice. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that does not mean that you cannot get advice. That's a different ruling, and we talked about this in the past. But the point is, when you give an advice, try to implement it too. And so forth and so forth. The second group of people that Ibn Qudamah talks about, I'm going to be very quickly inshallah, is people who are al-ubbad. How the ubbad, the people who worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, even al-ghurur seeps into their hearts. A lot of times he said the very first thing, and this is so common among all of us, is the fact that because of al-ghurur, because if we have the ego of Rabb al-Alameen, of the mercy of Rabb al-Alameen, we tend to focus on some things rather than other things. What does it mean by that? A lot of people, brothers and sisters, they would focus on the less important things in the deen, and they focus in the less important things of the deen, like al-nawafil, and they miss the fara'id. You see someone, for instance, and this is so common among the Muslim community here, you see some brothers who are so into halal food. Don't get me wrong. And dhabiha. Don't get me wrong. It's something, if you do this, by the way, this is something that the scholars have differed on, whether they eat Ahl al-Kitab or etc. But which one is important? Whether we eat halal food and dhabiha, or whether your wife is wearing the hijab? Which one is, tell me. The hijab. Yeah, you're fighting over ذبيحة وذبيحة. What about the, يا أخي, wear the hijab. يا أخي, wear your, have your beard. You know, come to for Fajr. You see how the inconsistencies? And some people you'll see them have so much, yeah, they focus on what's like so small aspect, and they forgot the big picture. He might make Qiyam al-Layl and he miss Fajr. Which one? If you do Qiyam al-Layl from Isha to 4 o'clock, it's not one small aspect of Fajr. Fajr is much more important than all of the Qiyam al-Layl. When some people, brothers and sisters, they try to be super cautious with wudu, to the point that they would delay coming to prayer. You focus so much in wudu that you delay to come into prayer because they're fearing the najasa. Okay, you see him sometime making wudu 7 times. Ya akhi, khalas, make once and go forward. Don't have this anxiety in yourself. Sometimes you will see people, for instance, they would, for instance, they would use so much water for the sake of making the wudu. Why? Because of they keep repeating the wudu over and over and over and over, and to the point that they would miss prayer or delay prayer. So, brother, this is the problem: is that you are focusing in nawafil, extra things, and you're forgetting the midst of the Islam. Or some people, even in prayer, some people are so amazed by the beauty of the recitation, and they forget or neglect the meaning of the recitation. Now tell me, which one is more important? And even if the Shaykh, mashallah, the Shaykh have a beautiful voice, okay? But no matter how beautiful his voice, what is the point? Like what is the, something small, having a beautiful recitation is important. I mean, but what is this compared to what are you learning from the qira'ah itself? Nothing. There's no comparison between the two. You see? So that's the thing. Or some people, you'll see them, they try to, an ahkam al-tajweed. They repeat the word and the letters and makharij al-huruf, and they want to make sure that they perfect each and every letter. But what happens is they don't even know what they're saying. Which one is more important? I'm not saying these things are, knowing makharij al-huruf, knowing what letters should be coming out of your mouth, when you having a perfect recitation, nothing wrong with that. But which one is more important? You're doing this one and you're forgetting this one. You see, some people, I see this so common nowadays. You see people going to Hajj each and every year. But what happened is he owes this guy money. He does not even obey his parents, and he does not eat halal, and he's a transgressor, zalim. Ya akhi, if you make Hajj 1,000 times and Ya ilahi, and you just obey your parents? You just obey your parents? Last time I was here, without mentioning names, a brother asked me a question outside. And part of the question, that the family, one individual in the family does not live with his mother. And I told him why. He said, because we might fight together. Honestly, when this question came to me, I forgot everything about the question. I was like, you fight physically with your mother? Wallah al-azim, brothers, as someone have shot me with a thunder. You fight physically with your mother? This still, like, I did not get over that. And we talk about these aspects and this peripheral issue, and that's a problem. We don't know the deen, and we want to implement the deen as we wish. That's the issue. And yeah, I like Hajj, I'm going to make Hajj every day. But you know what? Other aspect of the deen, I'm going to put it underneath the carpet. No. Last but not least, and the last group, I'm not going to take too much of your time, I'm sorry and for taking too long. The people, when it comes to wealth, brothers and sisters, and that's the people that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, all of us, alhamdulillah, have money. Brothers and sisters, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give you money to donate, no, this is an amana from Rabbil Alameen. And just because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala enabled you to do money, to donate, that does not make you a better individual whatsoever. Every time we donate for a masjid or some other important cause, whether it was for yatama, for orphans, or any other thing, don't think that khalas you became Superman. You are just returning what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have given to you. That's the problem, brothers and sisters. The fact that they become so thinking that we're giants when such thing happened to us. And the same thing, the same aspect when it comes to people who are mutasawwifa. And again, when I say Sufism, I want people to understand. Here we're just using a label. Some people label themselves with Sufism and they don't even know what Sufism is. But here we're talking about, here, brothers and sisters, when people, Sufis, what they do, they take a religion as a position, in which that I am a scholar, I am a righteous man, therefore, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to forgive me. And they have maqamat for this, by the way. Like when you look at the real deviant groups here, I'm talking about, again, deviant groups within Sufism, they have maqamat, like, وَعْبُدْ رَبَّكَ حَتَّى يَأْتِيكَ الْيَقِينِ. He said, we have reached they have the highest level, they call it al-yaqeen, in which that they said that at this point, when somebody reached that point, khalas, he does not have to pray, he could go to Umrah and come back while he's in his sleep, and he does not have to make Hajj, subhanallah. I ask, sometimes I wonder what kind of drugs they take. But anyway, the point here is that, we ask, this is misguidance. Wallahi, this is misguidance, But the point is that this is the ghurur in which that because of your status, your lineage of who you are, you became disobedient. Last but not least, brothers and sisters, Ibn Qudamah, he gave us a solution at the end. He gave us one question. He said, is it possible, or it's almost difficult for someone, for this ghurur not to seep into their hearts? I think all of us have agreed. And all of us, almost none of us are innocent, because this thing comes in, whether we like it or not. When we pray or we do this, sometimes we're like, you know what, I feel proud. Okay? There is a difference between feeling proud for you to push forward and always look down on what you're doing. Oh, brothers, this is another aspect that I want you to think about. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said in an authentic hadith, he said, لو أن الرجل أو كما قال لو أن الرجل يجر على وجهه منذ ولدته أمه إلى يوم القيامة لاستصغر ذلك عند الله يوم القيامة. He said, if a man would be dragged in his face, from the point he was born all the way until the hereafter, he would belittle that when he meets Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So no matter what you do, don't think that you have done something. Continue. So the very first thing is you have to know the ma'rifah. Try to learn Rabbil Alameen. Try to learn the deen correctly. Once you know your way, know who you are, know the way toward Rabbil Alameen, and once you learn the deen, then you would have a clear way of what you need to do. Because your deen tells you to be sincere. Your deen tells you that you don't look down into others. أفتؤمنون ببعض الكتاب وتكفرون ببعض. You pick the part of the religion, and that's the part of ignorance. People, they pick what they want and they run away with it. No. There is hierarchies in our religion. If you could make Hajj 1,000 times and your parents is not happy with you, your Hajj is nothing. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, brothers and sisters, at the end of the day, that we be cautious. Don't think you're free from this. Be cautious of this ego seeping into our hearts. into our actions and the way we think. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect us and save us, and I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to guide us. جزاكم الله خير لحسن معكم سبحانك وبحمدك نستغفرك ونتوب اليك والعصر ان الانسان لفي خسر الذين يعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. جزاكم الله خير.